Hey guys, my name is Khaled Ahmed with the KINETIQ team again, and I'm here to talk to you about another common problem we see among manufacturers, and that is the difficulty of doing really good production schedules when they're not connected to the right data at the right time. So the way we phrase this and the way we've seen it with a lot of folks we've worked with and how they've solved it, it's all around the starting point of your production schedule is out of date the moment you publish it. And we want to get folks to a point where they can A, keep up to date with changes and make it a continuous planning exercise. And B, their starting point is a lot more connected to the latest and greatest data. So I'm going to walk you through some of the pain points we've seen. You'll see if any of these are familiar to yourself. And then we'll also walk you through what it looks like to solve this problem. So we've all kind of been in this situation where the plan looks great in the meeting. You've spent some time putting together your production plan. It's been published, but within a day or so, multiple lines are running behind schedule. There are things like a material shortage that wasn't flagged on time, and you have your planners running the actual shop floor, trying to piece together what happened because they're not being served by the data they need to do their job best. You'll have disconnected systems telling different stories. So your ERP might be showing you that the orders are on track, but your shift log tells you something completely different. And the schedule isn't really being executed at that point. It's being negotiated, and it's all about workarounds. So people are basically disregarding the production schedule you put together because it wasn't tied to reality in the first place. So the reason for that is that the team that your team has published was assembled from systems that aren't talking to each other, and they tend to be assembled manually. And since they're all looking at a different snapshot in time from a different system, it's hard for it to be accurate or even represent the reality of what's going on the shop floor. So from your ERP, people will be pulling open orders, capacity, and lead times as of the last sync. Your MES data will tell you what's running on the shop floor, the current status of work in progress. Your WMS will tell you a lot about, what inventory you have that's already allocated, reserved, in quality review, and on-hand quantities that all don't necessarily agree. And then finally, you don't know exactly the latest data on your quality, what's being on hold, what's under inspection, etc. And so you end up with a situation where your plan isn't reflecting the reality of spread across all these different systems. Each of those inputs is a snapshot from a different point in time, from a different system, and your schedule ends up being your best guess based on that data, and that data's accuracy is degrading in real time. So at that point, really, your schedule does become a suggestion. People end up doing a lot of workarounds, and I'm sure you've seen this where folks are ultimately doing workarounds and figuring things out live as opposed to working from a continuously updated plan. So planners spend more of their time scheduling than executing, and that's super challenging for them. It doesn't allow them to do their best work. From there, you're spending money on expedite calls, you're spending time on manual updates, and folks are actually walking the floor to try and fill in the blanks because they're not being served with the data they need. When something does break, it tends to be an ad hoc response as opposed to actually something systematic and informed by the data, where you can actually understand, what's going to be my impact to OTIF, what's going to be impact to customer commitments, what's going to be the impact to the rest of our production schedule. So when you don't have that data at your fingertips, it is a challenge, and everyone's in reactionary mode throughout the week. So what is the cost of that kind of schedule that can't keep up? Well, one, your planner capacity is lost. The majority of the planner's week goes to maintaining the schedule and really reacting to things as opposed to making proactive decisions. Number two, the unplanned costs sort of compound because you now have to pay for expedited freight, unplanned changeovers, overtime, these sorts of things that actually eat into your margins and increase your cost to serve. And those are super challenging, especially if you're margin constrained in any way. And finally, there is OTIF and customer risk, and in some cases, penalties. So those late deliveries end up compounding in terms of impacting your margins, your relationships with clients, and the amount of business they'll do with you. So to fix it, we work with folks to go on a journey here, and it always is a journey where first we want to get everyone planning with live data. So those data sources we mentioned earlier, your MES, your WMS, your ERP, and quality systems, bringing that all into one place so that you can make intelligent decisions in the planning stage before things have even gotten started. That's stage one. So getting yourself the best possible start, making sure your capacity, inventory, open orders, and all of that data is assembled in one place before the planning cycle. Then two, let's face it, in the real world, your plan is only going to last until it comes in contact with reality. So we have to catch deviations early, and we need to surface where there's deviations between plan and actuals, and we can prioritize them based on impact, right? And that's how we get folks to a position of managing exceptions, not just chasing things around and being reactionary. So the alerts are ranked by downstream impact, and the planners can actually focus on what needs a decision, because of course there's going to be a lot of deviation, and there's going to be a lot of things that the team can react to on an ad hoc basis. Finally, you can make targeted adjustments. So not a full replan, but when something does break, there's a response that is informed and calculated based on the data because you have it at your fingertips, rather than rebuilding the plan from scratch. So what's exciting about this for folks is that you can have the same planners, the same assets, and the same team, but you get better execution. So where most folks start on this journey is, the schedule that is manually built from disconnected systems. They're accurate when they pull the data, but they're pulling data from different systems at different times with different snapshots or update cadences. What you build then is a planning process that's just connected to live data. So when you are doing your planning, whether it's in a Microsoft native tool or a separate tool like KINETIQ, for example, you're doing it updated with the latest information so that you can apply context to it. And finally, the impact of all of this is that your planners and the rest of your operation can spend a bit more time maintaining the schedule and executing as opposed to rescheduling and adjusting and firefighting. So that's the journey that you go on, but it's all about connecting that data. To do that, you really have to have a good roadmap of what this looks like and where you need to go. So when we work with folks, we start with a blueprint, which is a focused diagnostic. And the idea is we identify where that value is being lost, where your schedule is being disrupted, what data you don't have connected in real time for your team. We quantify that impact and we define a path forward and we architect what it's going to look like to fix that. So that means you don't have to make a commitment to build anything until you've seen the business case and you know what you're going to get for your investment. So if that sounds like you, and if this is something that's familiar to you, go ahead and check out the QR code at the top right so you can get in contact with the team. And we look forward to hearing from you.